Arteta! What a strike! What a screamer! Zola! And a fantastic goal! Arsenal back in it! Here's Limpar, lines it up, finds the net. Arsenal in front.
Arsenal world of fandom in panic as second leg approaches. This is the Arsenal Vision pre-match live show. My name is Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter at Yankee Gunner. We got a great show. Clive will be here. Tim will be here. Paul will be here. Scott will be here. Jessica Black will be here. And you, hopefully, will be here. And we will share this panic together. We will share this misery. We will share this experience together. And hopefully, it will end in joy. The idea that Unai Emery could come back to haunt us? No. I say no. I say you shall not pass, Unai Emery. This is where we draw the line. So we'll talk about a lot of things today. We'll take your questions. We'll predict your lineups, our lineups. We'll react to the lineup when it comes out. We'll talk a little bit about the tactics. Some other things we can touch on. Aaron Ramsey rumors coming back to Arsenal. Is that a thing we'd want? Aubameyang's challenging season. He sort of spoke out about what he's been going through, and I think that that's something that we may want to touch on a little bit as hopefully we await a big night from our star striker tonight. We'll maybe touch a little bit on some other transfer rumor stuff, but mostly we'll be focused on the game. And I think we'll also focus on the fallout from this game, good or bad, what it means if we get through to the final, what it means for the club, for Arteta, if we don't, and we stare down the barrel of no Europe next season. Maybe a good thing, focus on the league, maybe a bit of a bad thing, but we will get to all that and more with Paul. He is joining us now, so I will bring him into the show. We do have to blame Paul for something. We're going to get an apology from him, hopefully. So here we go. Paul's on Twitter. Pause my pants. Slow pause.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, indeed. Paul,
What have I done?
yeah. Do you want to apologize? Well, first
Sure.
of all, let's see if you've learned anything. Are you still wearing the Ceballos shirt?
No.
No. Who's on the back of this one or nobody?
He whose name shall not be mentioned.
Well, that
Mesut
could be
Ozil.
Oh gosh.
Ozil.
Okay. Well, we'd take a little Mesut Ozil-esque performance. Well, it depends on which kind of Mesut Ozil performance you want.
The good one.
From the good one. Okay. So do you want to apologize? I don't know. Wait, I gotta put this up here. I appreciate the sentiment, Andre. I do. We don't want you smashing your... we're starting a movement. Gently caress the like button. Gently caress the subscribe button. Gently caress your device, because if you smash it, then I'll feel guilty. Paul, I don't know if Paul's capable of feeling guilt, but don't smash. Gently caress. But I do appreciate the sentiment, and it is one that we certainly hope that you will go ahead and do. So, Paul, you wore, and to anybody just joining us who's not aware of this, you wore a Ceballos shirt. Forgetting that you own a Ceballos shirt, you wore a Ceballos shirt for the live stream last week. Do you feel any sense of personal responsibility, as you should, for what happened from that moment forward?
No.
None.
Yeah. I didn't actually think he was that bad, apart from when he was terrible. But that's maybe slightly off topic. No, I don't. I don't feel like jinxed anything. I'm not a big jinxy type.
You're not?
No.
So all right. Well, since you're not a big jinxy type, let's just get your initial thoughts. Do you think... people want to know, am I still YOLO Teta? It turns out YOLO Teta is not a thing. Ooh, wait, we just got this confirmed by Sky. Martinelli to start? Really? Okay. I don't know if that's true or not, but why don't we just run with the rumors? Benjamin's rumor. What do you think of the news that Martinelli may be starting?
I think that's interesting. I think the front three, therefore, might be kind of obvious. Martinelli on the left, Auba through the middle, Saka on the right. Is that just totally obvious, or is there some other scenario? We're not really thinking of Martinelli through the middle, are we?
No, I mean, I guess, is it possible that Aubameyang's still not fit for the full 90? I mean, he did start at the weekend and played 80 minutes, so you'd be pretty annoyed if that's the case, right?
Yeah, he did talk about how he wasn't feeling 100%. Arteta talked about it. As we watched him, he was fairly good against Newcastle, but it seemed like he wasn't the full enchilada in terms of energy-wise, but maybe we don't need him to be. Maybe we just need him to keep his game simple, stay central, and get on the end of things. But obviously, a winning combination is Martinelli to Aubameyang putting in crosses. So,
Yeah, I mean, we saw that at the weekend. So, I mean, there's rumors flying around, tons of rumors flying around. But let's just talk a little bit about what we know, which is nothing right now. And by the way, we're taking your questions. We're also going to speculate on the lineup and things like that. So, one of the areas where I think that there's still big potential for variance is the back line. And I know that's less exciting. We are less sexy at the back. This baby does not have back, you might say. But could Tierney be fit? Could Luiz be fit? Is it going to be Marie and Holding again? Holding wrapped in cotton wool, presumably at the weekend, which is a funny sentence to even utter. But do you have a sense of how he might go at the back? It is crazy to say it, Paul, but the entire back four from the first leg could potentially change for the second leg. I don't think you'd say any one of the four that started at the back is absolutely nailed on to start again. So which, if any, will change, or all of them?
And that's not even remotely the craziest thing you've said in the last 24 hours.
No, I like to say lots of crazy things. But again, I feel that whatever ability you have to criticize my takes, my perspective, my views, is entirely undercut by the fact that you wear and have worn and own a Ceballos shirt. So I think, potato, swings and roundabouts. Anyway, what do you think? Back four, fully changed, unchanged? What do you think?
So, I mean, obviously the only thing that really matters is Granit Xhaka at left back or not. I don't know what our take today is, but is there any reason not to assume that Xhaka isn't left back? Isn't that our working assumption?
Well, if Tierney's fit and he thinks he can play, then it's going to be Tierney. There's no chance that Xhaka is going to start there if it could be Tierney. And I guess in theory, that would mean that maybe we go back to the 4-2-3-1. Odegaard between the lines, Xhaka and Partey double pivot, and a straight back four.
And so really that's the only thing that matters in discussing the back line. Maybe not entirely.
Well, what about the center back pairing? That could change too. I don't think Holding or Murray.
Yeah. But like what would move your world, right? The tipping point would be
fair point.
Would be because it's knock-on effects to everything else you do or every other choice. Do we need to do anything quirky in midfields a la Ceballos with using another player like Gunnar Blog James talked about using Saka in the Ceballos role. I would if we had played Xhaka at left back, I think my pick would be Smith Rowe, especially if Martinelli's starting. So there's the other spot I would have had for Smith Rowe. So you're going to have Xhaka potentially covered by Martinelli working up and back, and you could have Smith Rowe in midfield, providing support on that side in the Ceballos role. And that's a lot of legs to cover Xhaka. So that's 6 legs instead of 2.5, which is what he had with him and Ceballos. Along the back line, if the big move there is playing what's his face, David Luiz, where they seem to be talking about how he might actually miraculously be back. I think if I remember his injury that looked like a muscle strain, it was on his standing leg rather than his kicking leg.
Right.
So maybe it wasn't so bad, and maybe he can just not use that leg so much, and again go along with the other leg, his right leg. So maybe he can play, and that's a significant aspect in terms of distribution. I think the other exciting position is right back, and maybe we'll see Bellerin used. He has the experience. He's got occasional critical goals for us. We should be spending much of our time attacking, but it might leave a bit of a strain on Luis if he's the guy who's brought back in with a dodgy leg. So, yes, there are many choices along the back line, but the biggest of all, of course, is Xhaka or Tierney or even Cedric, but that seems like a long shot.
Yeah, fair enough. I getting the important questions in the chat. I want to be clear that the hair product is a combination of not showering and then whatever is in my hands from taking care of my children and feeding them when I run my fingers through it. And that seems to do the trick. So
you didn't do there's something about Mary or whatever remember that movie?
There's something about Mary. I'm not going to touch on that. Although if you're familiar with the reference, then more power to you. Yes. So basically poo. Yes, that's right. Look, I think, we did get a Ben Stiller's product from something about Mary there. I think the interesting thing for me, Paul, what do you think it says if anything, and some of this is injury related, I admit, but do you think that there's anything that we can take from the fact that to some extent, here we are, second leg, crunch second leg, need to recover from a deficit, semifinal of European Cup, and it's early May, and we don't have a clue what system we'll use, what lineup we'll use. I mean, I acknowledge that some of this is injury related, but do you think that to any extent, Arteta would have been better served trying to really impose a system on this team earlier so that we reached a point where there was a certainty about where to stand, what to do, who's going to play, who the key players are in what positions? I mean, do you think that there's just a sense that when the team goes out on the pitch right now, they need 10, 15 minutes just to reconfigure themselves and adjust to, yet again, another tweak, another system, another set of partnerships?
I mean, we do kind of know the system, don't we? Now, it's certainly a problem in the first leg because it was only like the third game or something that Jack had ever played there. This would be his fifth, right? It's a tweak to the system. And you know, we lose Ceballos, who's the guy who's generally played on the left, but everybody else has played this for 5-6 games, something like that. And like we mightn't like it, but there is a system at the moment. We know it's shorter term that when Tierney comes back, we'll tear it up. But basically, it's either Xhaka or Tierney. And the reason I can say the big choice is between Xhaka or Tierney at left back is we know it determines one of two systems, which are somewhat, where it's basically a 4-2-3-1 or something, or a 4-3-3. Which are not huge flips. It's not like going from a 3 to a 4 at the back or doing so. We'll play with the equivalent of a 10 or attacking mids. It's not philosophically different. It's a change to the system over on the left side that has some knock-on effects. And we do kind of know what the system is, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do. I would say that...
We don't love it.
Well, and it depends what you consider a tweak, right? So like we went from the 4-2-3-1 to the 4-3-3, or as Clive likes, the 3-3-4. Then in the first leg, we went strikerless. I don't think that's just a minor tweak. I think that had a lot of knock-on effects.
So we didn't really, to be fair, yeah, it was strikerless, but so had been playing with Eddie the previous game. It wasn't much more striker full. So yeah, that's a bit of a tweak, but it was still the same system, except with a non-striker playing the striker. We'll play with the striker today, assuming we have a fit one. I mean, you could be right. We could decide Aubameyang isn't fit, and we play Smith Rowe as the 10 again, or as the striker /10 again. But it seems unlikely.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this: I am. What's the word I'm looking for? Nervous.
Nervous, good.
Let's just touch on this for a second. This feels so big. And the funny thing is, like, this is for the right to go to the final and probably play Manchester United, which will be a whole other level of nervous. And we already dealt with Chelsea in this cup final before. But I think the thing that I'm realizing is I don't know how I'm going to... I mean, look, we always care when Arsenal plays, but the rest of the league season is sort of a formality. This is everything. And all the things... Do you feel that there is too much on this game in the sense that I think there are a lot of people that are really trying very hard, and I know you're among them, to really see the good work that Arteta is doing, to really hang in there with him. And I have really tried to do that as well, especially post-Boxing Day. I worry that even the people that are telling themselves they're very pro-Arteta, were we to crash out tonight, would have a really hard time staying on board with that. Do you think that this could have any knock-on effect for him at the club level, or is it purely a fan issue? Because I don't get the sense of whether he's in any peril from the club, but I do think, I ran a poll, and it's just a Twitter poll, but sort of like, would you be Arteta in or out if the following things happen? Losing to United in the final was sort of 50-50. Beating United in the final was like, yeah, let him stay. But losing to Villarreal in the semifinal seemed like it would swing to the majority of people not being on board with it. So do you think that there's a big knock-on effect tonight based on a positive or negative outcome?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll be significant. It won't be determining. It won't be final. It won't suddenly mean everybody's Arteta out, but it'll have a big impact. He kind of really ought to, just if he wants my advice, I think he should win this game. I think it'd make his life a lot easier, a lot simpler. If he loses against United in the final in a reasonable performance, he'll be okay. Not nearly as okay as winning it. But yeah, this could be, it would be interesting, but not interesting enough for me to want to see it, to see how we react. And certainly short term, everybody will go fucking mental. The question is after a week or two and after the season wraps up in an anticlimax.
Got to stop you real quick. Good luck, Dominic. I hope it's a great day for you on the career front and the Arsenal front.
Yeah. Tell them that in 5 years' time, you want that guy's job sitting across the desk from you.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, your job.
Your wife. Don't say screwing your wife. Don't say screwing your son. Have you ever seen that? I think that's a Family Guy episode. He's at a job interview and the guy asks him, where do you see yourself? And in his mind, he's saying, don't say sleeping with your spouse. And then he says, sleeping with your son. And anyway, I don't know why that just popped into my head. And now I blame Dominic for this coming off the rails. But when is Scott joining is a good, fair question that can transition this back to something relevant. He's joining literally within the minute. So don't worry about that.
Find that vaguely insulting.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think, look, let's just quickly touch on what we expect from the game tactically. And look, we all know what we need. It's got nothing to do with Arteta. We need the classic Emery tactical disaster class. Do you think that that's coming?
Yeah, not to begin with, though. It'll be what he does when his sphincter tightens later on in the game. Whereas Arteta's been quite ballsy as the game, as big games progress. He's made big calls and been more aggressive, and it could be very interesting. It could be 1-1. And we need extra goals, or it could be 1-0 or 0-0, and quite a lot to do with
now
the end
you're
of the
just
game.
saying numbers.
I'm just saying numbers. And I think Arteta will get more aggressive, and Emery will get more sphincter clenching later on in the game.
Yeah, I want to make this point. Yeah, listening for the first time live and you two sound drunk when not on 1.4 speed. I want to tell you something. I try my best to be at 1.5 speed on these live streams so it fits with what you're used to on your podcast players.
Could I also add that my jokes, I generally talk at as if it's going to be 1.0 speed, but my jokes, because timing is everything, are timed for people listening at 1.5 because you got to hit the punchline right at the right moment. So if they land a little flat, you're probably listen to them again at different speeds until I'm funny.
Yeah, that's just keep speeding up Paul until he gets funny or goes away. Clive is out drinking. He's going to be joining the stream. Tim will be joining. Jessica Black will be joining. Oh, I could have taken you off the stream before you did that, but whatever.
No need.
Now we're all
not for me.
No, that's just on brand. It's fine. We'll get a tissue sponsor. I'm sure to be fine for all of your tissue needs, if you know what I mean. Clive's going to be here later. Tim's going to be here. Jessica Black's going to be here. Scott should be here any minute. What am I drinking? Nothing exciting. It's an antioxidant water, and the reason is it just went past noon here. I will get to the drinks when the time comes, but I have a special something for Clive for when he gets here, and I hope you'll stick around and see it because it is going to be extraordinary. Yes, Christ, Clive, driven to drink by the club. Let's be honest. It's the only way to get through it. Hopefully, Arsenal will play at 1.5 speed. That would be good. Thanks, Thanks, Buckers. Yep. Hopefully, good for Arsenal night. Let's get some questions in. Tissue deal done. Lotion deal next. Blimey. Yeah, that's fine. Elliot, what's your diet? Chocolate chip cookies and just extreme takes, basically. So, okay, Emery disaster class. So I did the rewatch with Clive, and one of these times, Paul, you need to do the rewatch because I think it's much more suited to you since you always rewatch. But before Ceballos got sent off, it is striking how dominant we were in territory. We really had the ball in the final third a lot, and we had them push back. And watching it with Clive again, we were saying, had that pattern continued and Ceballos not been sent off, you could have seen it go 2-2, 2-3. We were really pushing them deep. They were defending in their box. Stuff we've seen from Emery teams firsthand. Do you think that will serve as a little warning to him and he will try to get the team to push out more? You say, well, they'll play on the counter. about to do jinxy jinxers and stuff. I'm not super worried about the counterattack only because if they sit that deep, I think they'll struggle to get out. But do you think that is what they'll do? I mean, because that's my hope. They got a warning from it in the first leg.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't come out super defensive, right? I mean, it's not like they sat back. They're kind of 4-4-2-ish.
They did in the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, I agree.
The first 15 minutes, before Ceballos got sent off, that's what I'm talking about. That period was very, oh, hey, we need you to give an OA from Paul, and I'll become a Patreon member for a year. So we need that.
What is an OA?
Just go OA. I don't know. I don't even know what it means. We do it for money.
I'll swap
we
you.
Clap when they say clap. We play the symbols when they say play the symbols. That's what we're doing.
You buy you.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Any good?
So keep going. Yeah. Will they be defensive? Will that allow us to get off?
Now, was your take though that they were actually planning to be defensive at the start of the second half? I just thought we really went at them.
Well, I mean, remember, they took a striker off for Coughlin, and I think that transmits a message of sitting deeper. I think that puts you have fewer players to get out from. Yeah.
I mean, his tendencies are to play very cagey, tactical, and to guide himself into the final. So we're going to see some of that. But I don't know. I don't know, Elliot, if he'll be more defensive than in the first leg. I don't think he'll want to be more defensive. I mean, he needs a goal. So if he hasn't got a goal, he's going to have to keep going. Otherwise, he's going to get hurt. So Emery needs a goal. It depends on whether he's got his goal or not, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If he's got his goal, I think we're going to see KG Emery.
Per Google, Oa has recently gone viral on TikTok thanks to the unusual noises made by Pudgy the dog. So there you go. There you go. That's what that's all about. I love it. Today is all about team selection. I do tend to think that it is a tricky one for Arteta only in the sense that he has a lot of players back from injury who he could pick. You don't want to go Oba, Laka, Tierney, Louise. Like, do you want to pick 4 players, all of whom are either just back or not even back at all from injury? How do you think he has to balance that? I mean, Aubameyang got a good run out at the weekend and looked pretty good, so I would expect him to start. The other 3 who haven't played at all, maybe just fitting up for the bench. Do you think he was playing mind games with the statement that they're sort of all ready and all training and all that?
I do remember before the last game, they were all ready and they didn't play. Didn't turn out like Lacazette wasn't as ready as it sounded like he was going to be. Aubameyang wasn't as ready as he sounded like he was going to be. So maybe there's a bit of mind games coming into this. It seems a stretch for Tierney. On the other hand, with Luis, why not? We've got him for till the end of this season. There's only a few games to play. Who gives a hell? Personally, if Kieran isn't fully fit, Saka has to go at left back. No,
I know that Arsblog Andrew has been a big
Saka
left back guy. I mean, I guess you could argue that if you want to put Smith Rowe on the left and Pepe on the right, then it makes sense. But again, if you're going to go in that 4-3-3 formation where Smith Rowe is going to play in the Ceballos role and Odegaard's going to play in the other role, you don't really have a left wing. I mean, then you're bringing Willian into the formation, which, I know you love Willian, and I'm surprised that's not what's on the back of your shirt. I do not. So, yeah.
Why not play Cedric? I know he made a mistake once, but then so did Xhaka.
It does seem like he just has decided against Cedric. There was a chat going on Twitter today about is Arteta, is Arteta someone who maybe is a little too recency biased, that the last performance he saw is the one that most strongly influences him? I mean, I think a lot of coaches are guilty of that, but let's get to this question first. Have we discussed Martinelli versus Pepe? I feel dropping Pepe feels very ill-advised. The interesting thing is Arteta's gone from me not really being sure what he thinks about Pepe to being pretty darn sure of him to the point where he takes Saka off before he takes Pepe off. Martinelli, my feeling with Martinelli is when you need goals, start that guy. Because one way or the other, you're getting some end product from him. So this is a night for me where damned the build-up, damn the technical stuff, damn the pretty football and the precision. I think there was a great article Tim Stillman, who'll be on later, wrote about Arteta more often favors the scalpel than the sledgehammer when it comes to trying to create chances. Martinelli is a sledgehammer. He's going to get in the box. He's going to drive at guys. He's going to take shots. He's going to create chances. So between Saka, Pepe, Martinelli, Aubameyang, he can't play all of them. Do you have a sense of who would have to? I mean, it can't be Aubameyang. So how do you drop Saka or Pepe to get Martinelli in there? Really tough call, isn't it?
I mean, it is a tough call, but Martinelli, Aubameyang, did we talk about it? Yeah, we did. We talked about the Martinelli Aubameyang connection. I tend to think of Pepe connecting with Aubameyang from the right-hand side, curling in crosses and headers and finding Aubameyang at the far post. But Martinelli, in recent times, has been, in his starts, has been getting into the box, creating danger, getting shots off, and putting in very nice crosses into Aubameyang. And it may also just be the directness of our pressing. I think we're going to want to go at them and put them on the back front from early on, push them back.
This is true, isn't it? Like, he's got to pick one to sit out, and whichever one he picks to sit out, if it doesn't go well, he's going to get roasted for not picking that guy. It is that. But will he? Like, I think isn't this the other way around? He can't lose, really. Oh dear, he picked. Like, if he didn't pick Martinelli, I could see a bunch of people being upset that Martinelli didn't start because of his recent form. But not picking Pepe because you're picking Saka and Martinelli and Aubameyang, I don't know. I think he'll survive that crisis, that scandal. Let's look at this real quick. Put together some options. So this is option 1 in the 4-3-3. And I picked the back four he went with last time. So looking at this option, do you have a sense of, maybe anything he might do differently here? I mean,
I think that looks
guess, how close is that to what we might see?
Good with Martinelli instead of Pepe. I think that that'll be my. I don't know that that's the midfield he'll pick, but that's the midfield I would pick with ESR on the left. I like that. And whether it's Holding or he wants to give, like, he's got 5 subs, so why not start Luis? Because you can build your game around his distribution from the back.
Do you think that the disruption of having to take someone off early with an injury, if that were to happen, or they can't play, like, because you're not. Here's the thing about Luis, right? You're not going to sub a center back on to change the game. So you're either going to start him and see how long he can go, or you're not going to play him at all. But he's got 5 subs.
You got 5 subs, and you can plan it. It's not like it's oh my God, Luis is coming off. Like, you didn't know if you're going to get 20 minutes or 90 minutes, but Holding knew what his role was, or whoever, and he was ready to go, and the team knew it was going to happen. So it was it's not a crisis. It was a plan. So I could imagine that one. I wouldn't go with a lot of other. Hey, let's just, like, the Tierney one, I think is much less likely. I think it's more likely you play Tierney, you bring Tierney on if you're still chasing a goal with 20 minutes to go, and you risk him that way. I don't think you start him and give him 90, because now you're changing systems and you might lose him after 20 minutes, and that's a big system change. Whereas chasing the game later on, throw them all on, throw Tierney on, throw the walking wounded on.
Well, what about this? What if it winds up looking a little more like
this?
And this would be more like where we started to get on our run, so to speak. This is where I think we could go if Tierney's fit. I don't think he's going to go with Cedric. We've just seen that that's not something he's interested in. So,
and his comments didn't sound like he was very warm to the idea right now. It just seemed like he was saying, this is not Cedric's moment.
So do you think that this could be at that if Tierney comes in, I think Hector could replace Chambers. I think that's in the frame. Then you get Smith Rowe on the left, Odegaard through the middle. Now, the thing with this lineup is, again, that Odegaard position could go to Smith Rowe, and then left winger could be Martinelli or Pepe. There's a lot of options there. Here's what we'll do. Let's get a prediction from you. So, Paul.
He's going to play Odegaard. And he's going to play it as the 10. And instead of Smith Rowe, he'd play Martinelli here. So I think there's the only change, I think, in reality would, if he starts Tierney there, he'll play Martinelli will have that Smith Rowe spot.
Yeah, I mean, and you see how this is why I like this formation, although not necessarily with Xhaka there. You just see when you flip between them, that extra, just that extra guy in the attacking third pulling the strings. Now, you give Odegaard a little bit less of a free role in that role than you do here, and I think he thrives more in this one than this one. That's Elliot having fun with Toggle. Paul, unfortunately, because Scott was so late to join the stream, I've got to let you go, if that's all right with you, because
Sure.
Scott has now put me in the position I can't be in, which is 4 people on the stream at once, which is no good. So chat with you at the instant reaction for patrons, my friend.
Yeah, up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal, indeed. And that's Paul. You can find him on Twitter at Positive My Pants. Thanks, Pos. We'll hope that your Ozil shirt brings better luck than your Ceballos shirt. Two great choices, buddy. Keep buying shirts, definitely. Okay, that's Paul. We're going to bring in Scott. You can find him on Twitter at _that_crab. Hello, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, God, your sound is awful. Your lighting's awful. I'm taking you off. You got to figure out your lighting. Not your lighting, your audio. Your audio, Scott. Your audio is terrible. Tim's on Twitter. It's Roberto. Hello, Tim.
Hello there.
Are you coming to us from a changing room, Tim?
No, I've had to draw my curtain behind me because it's actually quite light outside.
Oh, so backlight. Yeah, but that's where we get the whistleblower video. So if we ever want you to give us some inside scoop whistleblower style, you can definitely do that.
It kind of looks a bit more like I've actually descended from heaven. It looks a bit more celestial with the
celestial than whistleblower. Well, you have in my book, you have descended from heaven, my friend. So I definitely think that we can grant you that. I am sorry for having been so abrupt with Scott, but his audio was you heard it, right?
Yeah. And mine's actually working, which is a bit of a miracle, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you the question that I've been asking. Are you nervous?
Yes. Yeah, incredibly. I've actually been out all day in central London, and it's one of those. I haven't had this feeling much because I've usually been at home all day before the games, but actually being out today, somehow it's made it felt more like a normal kind of work day. And so I've had that creep of not thinking about it much in the morning, and then thinking about it more and more. And then since lunchtime, thinking about nothing else, basically. And today's the first day I really feel regret for not being able to be there. I think also having travelled into the city, usually I would do that and then go to the game in the evening. So yeah, it kind of this is the first time I really feel I really wish I was there tonight. But this is huge. This is absolutely enormous. I'm probably not helping anyone's nerves there.
It feels like it. And as you can see, I'm just a worrier. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. You see it on the screen. Had to get that in there real quick. Okay, let's bring Scott back in and see if he doesn't sound like he's coming to us from the bottom of a well. Scott's on Twitter at @O_that_crab. Hello, Scott.
Hi, we'll try this again, see if I sound better.
Oh, it's so bad, Scott. This may not be. It's not that your mic isn't good. It's that the echo is creating I don't know, Tim. You tell me. Am I being too harsh?
No. It's very reverby.
Yeah, let me see what I'm going here.
I think it is the room and not you. So I do want you to know that it is the room and not you.
Are you in a meeting room or something?
We've got a live event, by the way, coming up. And we're going to be announcing it in just a couple of weeks, but it will be happening at the end of the summer. And obviously, we're just sort of taking stock of the whole, pandemic situation to make sure that we're not setting up anything that shouldn't be done. But we'll get to that, and you'll hear from that tonight. Oh, good question, Tim. I know you're a fan of them. Is tonight the night for Thomas Partey Rasper from 35 yards? We're overdue for it.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. It's going to happen one day, and on that day, my Twitter mentions will be an absolute tire fire. And I will take my top off and I will dance around in my mentions. Do you ever see that scene in The Simpsons where Homer says, this is the second greatest day of my life?
Yes.
And then he imagines the best day of his life, which is like a beer truck crashing next to him, and he takes his top off and he starts running around in his swimming trunks in the beer. That's going to be me the day Partey does that. And hopefully it's tonight.
Yeah, well, let's do this before we lose Scott for me saying that I can't deal with, because not only is the room sound so reverb friendly, we literally, every time you click your mouse, Scott, it might as well be a sound effect in the actual live stream. But I'm going to put this up on the screen real quick so you can explain to us what we're seeing. This is your prediction grid. Do you want to explain what the prediction grid is showing us here?
It shows that Arsenal are in general the better team favored for this match, but because of our performance in the first time, we aren't favored here. And I can hear the echo going on too, and it's bugging me, and I'm very sorry about that. I'm away from my normal setup in my office at.
I appreciate you
job.
trying, man. Let's do this. Let's get you to explain this real quick. Then we're gonna boot you, not because we don't love you, but because of the reverb situation, and we'll obviously have you on next week. But like, what are we seeing here? Help us explain the stuff we can't explain without you.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So Arsenal are favored in this match. It's about 41%. It's a slight improvement from the last week. What we're looking at here is the probability of each score. So the ones where Arsenal win 1-0, those are the ones we like, or we'll need a 2-goal win to advance. When you kind of add everything up, going in with the extra time and penalties, Arsenal, according to my model, are about 38% to advance. When I looked at the betting odds, it was about 43%. And then 538 has us about 40%. So it's still a tough road to climb for Arsenal, but it's better than I think I could have felt on my nerves.
Yeah. Okay. Well, people are saying that the reverb's not so bad, so we'll keep you. They're saying don't boot him, Scott. This is the day I was this day old when I found out people want you in the live stream. So there you go.
I'll take it.
I was this day old. So look, we have to address the lineup. I am going to type it in, but I am going to read it out before I type it in. Leno, Bellerin, Holding, Marie, Xhaka, Partey, Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Pepe, Aubameyang. Yeah, it's a lineup designed to go get us goals. No start for Martinelli, but as we discussed before you came on the live stream, Tim, whichever one of those front three players, Pepe, Saka, Oba, or Martinelli he left out, would be the one he'll get caned for if it doesn't go well. The fact is, as much as I love Martinelli, I don't know how you can complain about Pepe, Oba, Saka front three. So it's a good lineup, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I wanted Martinelli more as an impact sub. I think if we need a goal with 20 minutes to go, then he'll come on and he'll take shots, and that's kind of what you need at that part of the game. I think that suits him at the moment, actually, being that kind of agent of chaos off the bench. But I do like that lineup. I really wanted Pepe to start. He had no choice but to start Aubameyang, and that's kind of fine. I just really wanted Pepe in there. And did you say Smith Rowe and Odegaard?
Yeah, they're both in.
So Smith Rowe's kind of playing the Ceballos. And I like that as well. He can do that. He really can do that. He can certainly do it as well, and probably better than Ceballos. Like, I don't worry so much about Smith Rowe off the ball. I'm not sure it's his absolute strength, but he will work and he will try. And I don't think he'll be any worse than Ceballos in that respect. And I say worse than Ceballos. Ceballos is actually all right, I think, defensively most of the time, certainly on interception. So I do like that. I think also you've got to kind of try and preempt the opposition. And I suspect, as Alex Kirkland, who knows about these things much more than I do, said on one of our podcasts earlier this week, he suspects that Emery will be cautious in this game. And I having seen his work, I suspect that as well. He might spring a surprise. And actually, if Emery is really, really smart, he'll say, you bastards know me. And you know what I'm probably going to do, so I'm going to double bluff you. I think that would be a really smart thing for Emery to do.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that might catch us out. But
I wrote this last night as one of the options, and I was like, will he get this aggressive? He's gone more aggressive than this. He's gone Bellerin on the right, which I regard as a slightly more aggressive move. And by the way, maybe a little
is it though?
Yeah, it is, Scott. It is.
The reason I was kind of thinking through this is I think that you can actually see it with Xhaka and Bellerin kind of playing almost as the midfielders to support Partey, because I know that's something that we've seen a lot from Bellerin is he won't do the overlapping, bombing down the sideline runs, and he will actually tuck in quite a bit and help almost as a midfielder. And I think if we're going to go out there as a full possession team, I think that is something that actually makes a lot of sense, and that was something that I was kind of thinking through a lot yesterday. So I thought that Xhaka and Bellerin kind of made sense if we're going to try to have a lot of the ball. I think that, watching that rewatch the second half, I thought ESR really did well in kind of the Ceballos role where he, was able to do a little bit of both, being a midfielder and almost a 10. So I think that this is a lineup that I really like. This is one that I was really pushing for. I'd hoped that David Luiz would be fit, because I think that him and Gabriel would have given me a little bit more just comfort. But Murray and Holding have been a fine partnership if we ignore the last Villarreal matchup. So other than that, they've been really good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. By the way, I want to be clear. The lineup on the screen is not the one. It's the one scrolling at the bottom. My point is, this is what I thought he might do, and the only difference from this is Bellerin on the right. I want to talk back for, though, Tim, and because I think, I mean, you could argue that going Holding and Marie after the way they played in the first leg is tempting fate. But if we expect Emery's team to sit back a little, maybe it's not as worrying. But I felt that when we were in transition defensively, Holding and Marie had a really bad game. Clive and I rewatched the first and second halves for patrons. Well, we didn't rewatch it for them. We rewatched it and put the video out. You know what? Don't be pedantic. Point is, we rewatched it, and they really were poor. And what really surprised me is poor in distribution in particular. So are you surprised that he's stuck with them given the performance he got out of them in the first leg? They both looked pretty scared, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I really expected Gabriel to start. I fully expected Holding to start just because there was no way David Luiz was going to be fit, I don't think. I don't think he really wanted to put Chambers there. He rested Holding on Sunday. He was always going to play. I think he likes Holding, fair enough. I did expect to see Gabriel play because of the performance of Murray last week. Gabriel came in on Sunday, played well. This is the guy we've paid money for. It's a guy Arteta wanted as well. It's not a player he inherited. It's a player that, I mean, I say he bought, but was bought certainly with his agreement at the very least. So I really expected to see that. And usually with Arteta, what we see is whoever plays well in the last game tends to play. And I thought that what Gabriel did against Newcastle, albeit a pretty impoverished Newcastle team, I really expected him to just go, okay, Gabriel's come in, he's played well, he keeps the shirt. So I am a little bit surprised to see that. I don't want to tempt fate. I'm not enormously worried. I do think Mari's been very good for Arsenal. I do think it's just one bad game that he's had. Could just be because he had one bad game. There might be something specific about Villarreal. We'll probably find out later. But generally, I've been quite pleased with Mari. I would pick Gabriel just because he's younger. We paid the money for him. This is the guy you've kind of bet on. He's good. You know, Europa League semi-final. Hopefully, he'll be playing more, big European matches for us. So let's get him in there and get him used to them. But to be honest, I'm not enormously worried. I do wonder also if there's something about Xhaka being at left back. Maybe if Tierney were at left back, maybe he'd play Gabriel. I don't know, but that's just kind of reaching.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think is interesting is there's some debate going on in the chat about maybe there's an exotic twist to this. Scott, is there an exotic twist to this? I mean, could it be Saka at left back, Xhaka's in the midfield, and then you would have a situation where it's a 4-2-3-1, maybe, or I don't know. I mean, that strikes me as very, very risky. But then you could have a Xhaka party double pivot. You could have Odegaard at 10, Smith Rowe, Oba, Pepe up front. It's not out of the realm of possibility. We saw him go strikerless with Smith Rowe at a false 9 in the first leg. So is there an exotic twist on this, perhaps?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the simplest solution is probably the most likely one. I mean, I think we've seen this system for the last, 3 or 4 weeks since Tierney went out. So I think that we're going to see the same thing. I mean, I think maybe if you get down to the last 20 minutes and we really get really desperate, then I think you might see something where we throw on a bunch of attackers and move Saka to left back or something like that. But I think we'll start out in the same formation that we've been doing. I think even last week, it wasn't that big of a difference. It was just Smith Rowe tried to be Lacazette and he wasn't. But I think it was still the same system, just with, different people kind of plugged in. And I think that's what my expectation is for this as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree with that, Tim?
Yeah, I do. I do think that's quite an interesting thought, though, that I hadn't thought of. And it could be that. And look, we know that Arteta isn't adverse to the idea of galaxy bracketing things a little bit.
I mean, he did 1 leg ago. We just saw it.
Yeah. And I think we know that Arteta likes to kind of pit himself against these coaches sometimes. And perhaps, playing his predecessor, I don't know. I don't expect to see that, but I'm not saying it's like I'd say there's maybe a 5 to 10% chance of that. Like, I wouldn't be absolutely shocked, but I don't think we'll see that. I think for the reason Scott says, like, Xhaka's played 6 games now at left back. He played the whole game on Sunday. That has to be about keeping him going there and keeping his hand in the position.
We haven't considered this, but is it Aubameyang left back? Maybe Odegaard at center back? I mean, have we gone totally nuts here? Let's do this. Let's put it on the screen and just talk about real quick some of the things that it could be that maybe we haven't talked about. But this looks like it. I mean, Scott, is in your mind, is this it? Is it what's up there? I mean, Smith Rowe left 8, Odegaard right 8, Xhaka in that left back role. Do you think? I mean, when we've seen Bellerin play, sometimes we've seen him play inside of the right winger, not doing the classic overlap. So do you think that changes it at all?
No, I mean, I think that is the general way that we're going to see things, where it's going to be Bellerin kind of, doing the triangle with Odegaard and Saka. I think he's going to be playing more from the half space instead of, as a wide forward. So I think you're definitely going to look to see Saka probably provide a little bit more of that width. I think Odegaard is pretty comfortable drifting out there as well. So I think that'll be fine. He probably will play a little bit more reserved. I don't anticipate he's going to be super bombing into the back, not too dissimilar to kind of how Xhaka has definitely played from the left-hand side. Because I think that's where he's going to see, I need to have my fullbacks be the guy that's going to be a supporting party. That's really the way I see this.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's entirely possible. I mean, look, some of this. Oh, we got a half space comment, so that is on the drinking game. So you're gonna have to take a drink. Can we just real quick?
Have we seen Villarreal's lineup? How did they line up?
No, I haven't seen a Villarreal lineup yet. If someone has seen that or has a link to it, we can definitely talk about that a little bit. I don't want to get too far away from the game, but are you guys cool if we just take a beat and talk about some other sort of hot news for a second? Look, I'm going to have unpopular takes. You'll never guess. Tim, a little bit of rumor that Aaron Ramsey could come back to Arsenal. Wojciech Szczesny as well, and I know you can't speak about that without free of emotion because he is your love child. So fine, you can have Szczesny back. But Ramsey returning to me feels like the classic club that has no idea what it's doing move. Only going to what they know, never looking forward, always looking backward, taking the option of something that will appease the fans to some extent and is a talented player, but doesn't push the project forward. It feels like that reductive kind of thinking. I'm not saying it'll happen, but do you have a feeling on whether there's any reality to this? I mean, I have to imagine that Juve would eat a lot of wages for this to even be possible. I'm also not sure we want another player in our team where we know he's good for about 20 games a season at best. So where do you stand on a Ramsey return?
Yeah, no, not at all. Everyone knows I loved Aaron Ramsey. I wanted Arsenal to sell him 2 years before we lost him on a free, particularly because of the physical thing. Well, once it became clear that he wouldn't sign a contract, but also I think it would have been one of those. It would have been a very questionable contract anyway, given unfortunately a mixture of his game and the physical issues he has, which when you play like that, it's just so pronounced, and that's ultimately why Juventus are willing to let him go. Or at least it really sounds like that. The other thing as well, like to your point, I can't remember. I think you were talking with Clive about the possibility of taking Odegaard on loan again, and you were saying, Elliot, no, at some point we have to stop these short-term moves and really try to push this forward. In some ways, you could make an argument for Ramsey to come back and be not a bit part player, but maybe a player who does play 15, 20 games a season, and that's fine. We get no goals from midfield, so he can change that. He's the kind of guy who can change a game from the bench. I'd rather invest in a young player, to be honest. Even Willock, I would rather, as much as I'm pretty sold on the idea of selling Joe Willock while there's a good market for him, it looks like. I'd still rather, I'd rather he played that role. He's playing that super sub role for Newcastle. I wouldn't be absolutely mortified if he came back and did something similar for Arsenal. I don't think he should be starting every week, but if he did that, look, if we need a goal with 10 minutes to go, and we know Arteta doesn't like to change formation, but if you take Xhaka off and put Willock on, you don't necessarily change the formation, but you change the intent of your team. And so I don't mind the idea of Joe Willock doing that, for example. Let's not pay 30-year-old, is he 30 or 31-year-old Aaron Ramsey with his bad hamstrings that we already experienced, when he was a couple of years younger. But Szczesny, definitely bring him back because we need a goalkeeper anyway. So go for that.
Yeah, and thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate that. It's entirely too kind. And get your drink order in next time. Scott, I'm just going to ask you for like a 1-second answer because we're going to get to the Villarreal lineup. Ramsey, I assume you agree. I mean, we need goals from midfield. He has a lot of the qualities we look for in a player, but go find that in someone new. Go find that in a durable 23-year-old that can appreciate and value, not someone who's aging on our books, correct?
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that...
We've lost your audio. Completely lost your audio. It's going so well with Scott. All of you who said the audio was fine, he could stay. I blame you for this. Scott says no. Scott, do you want to try it one more time? Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn back to Tim here. Now you're completely gone. He went from sort of here to not here at all. Scott, I love you, man. And you know we love having you on the streams, but Scott's on Twitter, _that_crap. Thanks, Scott. Bye, Scott. Sorry. Let's get the Ramsey return banner off there because we got a Villarreal lineup. Scott, I'm so sorry, buddy. Let's share the screen here and put it up on the screen. Tim, it looks like the only changes are no Foyth, who picked up the injury, and no Capu. They have gone 4-3-3, so they haven't taken off the striker. They haven't gone to their second half system. It looks like Coughlin will be playing the Capu role. I cannot have us get knocked out by both Coughlin and Emery in the same night. It's literally a nightmare crafted just for me. But when you look at Gaspar coming in for Foyth, you look at Coughlin coming in for Capu, otherwise the same. Do you think it'll look the same, or do you think it'll look different?
I am actually quite surprised about that. I was expecting either one of Alcácer or Moreno to drop out. By the way, Gaspar? He must be related to Edu. Edu Gaspar. So
I mean, sleeper agent. I'm fine with it. Double agent, sure.
Although he played for Valencia, so. But anyway, I am a little bit surprised about that. I was expecting them to go. I wonder if it will look a little bit more, a little more 4-5-1-y. But then again, like I'm not sure Moreno really does that job. But or maybe it will look a bit more 4-4-2.
Can I ask you a specific question? Because I think our analysis therapy, great name for all of us tonight. We all need it. I think could have a good point. It shows Chukwueze on the left where he's played all season. Do you assume he'll be set up on the right again, to go run at Xhaka? And is that going to give you, what do we call it? The fear, TM?
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, I do think so. There's a good chance this is taken from UEFA, although UEFA's team sheet would probably have Chukwueze in goal, to be honest. Those of you familiar with UEFA's team sheets, they always get the formation like completely wrong and all of the players completely wrong. So I suspect.
Did you see what they did for us in the first leg? I think they went like 3-5-1-1 something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would fully expect Chukwueze to be on the right. Yeah, I do wonder if that looks a bit more like it's going to be a 4-4-2 or maybe a 4-4-1-1 kind of shape. But obviously, it's not so much the formation, but how you play it. But it does look like that Emery wants perhaps more counter-attacking potential than I thought he would go for. I did think he'd drop one of those strikers out,
Yeah, we're getting urgent questions about where Clive is, Tim. Clive is 7 minutes away, and I want you to know something. Jessica Black is here, so we're going to bring her on. I have something lined up for Clive that I think you're going to like, because as you know,
we're always going to like it.
Oh God, I hope not. Yeah, but it's good. He's been on the drinks. So yeah, Moreno is the danger man for Villarreal. The thing that's interesting is if they're playing 4-3-3 and he's, I kind of wonder if you're going to see a situation where it's typical Emery, where they drop so deep that they can't release their Moreno and Chukwueze, which would be great. Bellerin's got to keep an eye on him, obviously, because I think he'll be on Bellerin's side, and I think it'll be Chukwueze on Xhaka's side once again. Let's bring in Jess, and we can talk about this. I'm giving you a wave. I mean, aren't I? I'm on screen. It's not like I'm not talking to you. I can give you a wave, though. Okay, Jessica's on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Hello, Jess.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? We are, how do I put this? Nervous. We are nervous. Are you nervous, Jess?
Yeah, I am. I'm very, very nervous. The nerves kicked in very early today, and I was thinking, wow, like, we really need to win this game or at least get through to the next round. I don't care how it happens. We don't need to play pretty. I really don't care about little triangles or nothing. Just kick the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Just kick the ball in the back of the net.
Are you expecting an Emery disaster class tonight? Tactical disaster class from the man, the myth? He is literally a myth. He's got to be a myth. How can anyone like him be real? But
I wouldn't be surprised if he did something a little bit dodgy and took out a striker and made himself even more defensive or something like that. But I think the onus is really on us. We can't really rely on Emery making an Emery-like mistake. We just need to go out there and take care of business in that first half. God forbid we're 0-0 or something, going into the last 20 minutes of the game. That's the last thing we need. So the onus is really on us. So I'd rather just bet on an Arteta masterclass than an Emery disaster class.
And I'll get your thoughts on the lineup more in a minute. But Tim, just real quick, I think there are a lot of people whose feelings about Arteta are going to either be confirmed or changed or swing. Today, by the way, Roy says, Elliot and Tim, get those beers in. Where's the weird... This is an antioxidant water. I'm hitting it hard tonight. Let me tell you, it is just past noon where I am. Well, actually, it's just prior to 1 where I am. Don't worry, I will get on the drinks soon, but this was a little too soon. Yeah, Tim, where do you... Wait, I didn't see it, Jess. What was it?
Water.
What was it? Oh, it's just water.
Yeah, it's just
to be
water.
fair, it's not even noon where you are, so it's still morning for you. Okay, what do you think about judging on cup competitions? I mean, I don't think it was fair. Like, we lionized Arteta for winning the FA Cup. Winning the FA Cup is wonderful, but I think we've seen that being a cup manager ultimately doesn't necessarily translate to being a great league manager. So where do you stand on judging Arteta based on this cup? And the fact that it's going to happen regardless of what we say, but what's your take? I mean, because we could wind up in a weird situation where we're in a European final again, finishing 9th. We all know how that worked out for Emery when he finished just outside top 4. So what do you think on judging coaches based on cups?
Yeah, this isn't really new. Like cups, I guess, have become a little bit devalued. The Europa League, I'm not sure it's been... I was going to say kind of almost revalued because of that Champions League place. But to be honest, the UEFA Cup in its own right was always a really prestigious competition anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's quite weird because what we're really, I think it's twofold, right? We want that European trophy. I've only seen it once in my life, but we really want that Champions League place. And that, because of everything that will hopefully do for our future, and next season, and just being able to release like a little bit more funds and be like an attractive club to come to again. But in terms of judging managers on cup competitions, I don't think managers have ever been judged favourably on cup competitions. It has always been about the league. If you look back, historically with Arsenal, Terry Neal got Arsenal to 3 cup finals, FA Cup finals in a row, a Cup Winners' Cup final in there, didn't save his job. George Graham got sacked. Right. The bung thing, that was expedient. Arsenal knew about that quite a long time before they sacked him for it. They sacked him because Arsenal was 16th and they got to a cup final that year and he became a cup manager. It didn't save his job. So at the moment, look, we're probably still early in the Arteta project, but if he finishes 9th every year and gets us to a cup final every year, it won't save his job. It's kind of, if he gets us into the Champions League by hook or by crook next season, he definitely gets next season. He probably gets all of next season if he manages that. Whereas if he doesn't, I think it will be maybe a bit more of an Emery scenario where we start next season with him and, reassess at Christmas. So I don't think any manager has ever managed to keep their job on the basis of what they do in cups, and this is still too small a sample size. We're talking 2 cup competitions basically. Yeah. And if he did it like every year for like a decade, then there might be something in that. But I don't think he'll get judged on the cup, but it's more about getting us back into the Champions League, I think.
Yeah, I hear you. Jess, I guess wait. We've got breaking news from Extant Crab. No need to be nervous. Villarreal aren't good. Easy 3-0 incoming. Plus, we'll lose the final anyway, so sit back, relax, and hit me with a pina colada. Your pina colada's coming up, Crab. Thank you, my friend. Let's get, because we haven't really gotten your lineup reaction yet. So, Jess, do you have any thoughts? I mean, I know no one wanted to make YOLO Teta a thing. So, by the way, if you're trying to watch us on Twitch, we're at twitch.com/AVPMP, Arsenal Vision Post-Match Podcast, AVPMP, AVPMP. So, this is kind of YOLO Teta, though. He's gone with the twin 8s. The 8s are very aggressive in Smith Rowe and Odegaard, we believe. Saka on one side, Pepe on the other, Oba through the middle. This is a lineup that I would at least say this. If you can't get goals from this lineup, then we're going to have to stop looking at lineups ever again, because it surely can't be set up to go out and get goals any more than it is tonight, right?
Yeah, this is definitely an aggressive lineup, and I think we have to go this way. I thought Bellerin might start. I put Chambers in my lineup, but I was thinking, okay, if we have the ball, we probably want Bellerin out there. I think we lack a little bit of forward, going forward with Xhaka and Chambers. So take one out, get Bellerin out there, see what he can do. He's usually good in these kind of pressurized games, so I'm not mad to see him there. We just need to go out there and be really, really aggressive and get them on the back foot early. I think you need to put them under pressure. It seemed like after the game, they thought that they had made a mistake by giving us that goal, and we need to let them know that they made a mistake giving us that goal. First 10 minutes, I'm looking for somebody to get on a yellow card, on Villarreal, obviously, a penalty in our favor, something. We just need to go after them. I mean, I would be very shocked if this lineup doesn't get a goal in the first half, one or two at least.
I like, all right, that's pretty confident. I like that. Let's talk about Aubameyang. Tim, Aubameyang starting up front tonight, arguably the biggest. I mean, he went pretty off against Valencia, if I recall, in the Europa League. He's had some misfires in big games for us, but by and large, I think most of our big wins have come from strong contributions from Aubameyang. He recently opened up about how tough this season has been for him and how difficult the malaria thing was. Listening to him speak, I certainly don't get the sense of some guy who's, a problem player or is tuned, has checked out from Arsenal. I mean, how do you feel about the pressure that's on him tonight? And did listening to him speak about what he's been through add any context to you? You've been a big supporter of his and defender of his, that he's never been as bad as people have made out. I've tried to be on board with that as well. So what do you think, hearing what Aubameyang had to say and the pressure he's under tonight?
I really liked it, actually, and I didn't expect to care that much, to be honest, about what he said. But I really liked when he said, "Look, I know everyone was expecting me to score goals this year. I haven't done it, but he really sounded up for this, and that's exactly what I expect, because he tends to deliver in these games. You pointed to the Valencia game, both legs last year. He came up with the goods. Obviously, everyone remembers the FA Cup and everything like that. So, He is the last player I'm worried about tonight, actually, because he's just been here before with Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund. He's played in these games and he's delivered in these games. We just have to make sure we get the ball in the penalty area. I will be shocked and amazed if we don't get an Aubameyang goal tonight, put it that way.
Yeah, I think that is sort of what I'm hoping for too. I want to show you something as we get ready. Oh, well, let me not shut you out of that conversation. I love Aubameyang. He is my one true love in the team, and that not my one true love, but one of my truest loves. I certainly love some of the up and coming players like Bukayo Saka, of course. You're a big Thomas Partey stan, as is Clive, who will be coming on. Clive, hat trick tonight. If you mean hat trick of 8% Duvals, I would say that is probably likely. So, yeah, we're going to be seeing Clive in any minute now, I think. But Jess, do you have any sense of what it must be like for Aubameyang? I mean, I think it has been a tricky season for him. I think he's been judged more harshly than he deserves. I certainly was someone who was vocal that re-signing the contract was a mistake, not because I didn't trust his talent, but just I thought long-term asset allocation, it wasn't great. But he's a player who still looks at it for me. He came on against Villarreal towards the end. Their beautiful run and pirouette, takes the ball, feet come out from under him, and just maybe doesn't get the contact he wants, but nearly a goal in 6 minutes on the pitch. I expect big things from him tonight, but do you think that this season is one that is just maybe a bit of a misfire, but that he's not done and he still has a lot that he's excited to prove?
Yeah, I think he said as much in that presser. He's taking responsibility, and I like that. I know it's been kind of said in the past that maybe he doesn't take responsibility, and he does. The criticism about him maybe not showing up in big games, I think, is a little bit maybe misguided. He does, maybe not against Man City, but the whole team doesn't step up against Man City. So in big cup games, he has stepped up in the FA Cup and in the Europa League in the past. I think we're going to see a goal or maybe even two from Aubameyang. I expect him to be at it. He looks fired up, and he's the type of player that, I know you're not supposed to look at body language and things like that, but for me, he's one that kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve. So if he looks excited, then I'm excited about it as well. I have been harsh on him. That's just because I have really high standards. I mean, what does he have, like 15 goals in like all competitions. There's a lot of strikers in the Premier League that have those types of stats. It's just not good enough for Aubameyang because his standards are so high, so I think he has a lot more to give. I expect him to score a goal today, and I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah, well said. I agree. By the way, Mike, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who watches, and hangs out with us for the pods and on Patreon and on the live stream. I mean, we're all, what's the word I'm looking for tonight? Nervous. And in case you missed it earlier, look, you guys know that I have a bit of a nickname, that I am known as Whiskers. And I just want to be clear that it is because I'm a worrier. It's why my friends call me Whiskers. I mean, there it is. There you have it. I'm a worrier. It's why my friends call me Whiskers. Let me bring something up. So, look, I want to talk about Unai Emery, Tim.
Do we have to?
We have to. I got to put this on the screen. There comes a time when you realize that someone just isn't a person you're really going to connect with. Someone you're just not really going to like that much. And I believe it was right around this time when I realized that with Unai Emery. This is Unai Emery's Christmas card. This is his Christmas card. Christmas, whether you celebrate or not, I think it's a festive season. It's about silliness and joy. It's about celebrating peace and love and global connectedness and unity and harmony, whether you celebrate or not. I think it is about family. It could be about a lot of things. This is not what it's about. This is hire my sports consulting group because I am some kind of tactical genius. Celebrate me in the black and white and the gold foil and it says Merry Christmas on that. If I took that off, that could be his LinkedIn cover photo. Tim, how is that a Christmas? This man can't beat. That's his Christmas card. Come on.
Yeah. We should say, I don't think Unai Emery is a terrible coach or a terrible person. It was a bad fit at Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. But I think we can see why maybe he struggles with the personal touch with players.
This says, this is like you had a Christmas robot and you accidentally swapped its Christmas programming with its LinkedIn developmental conference program. I don't even know what to say. Merry Emery Christmas. That's exactly what this is. So I'm sorry. I had to throw this in because to me, this is... Come on, he doesn't run his own social media. I get he doesn't run his own social media, but come on, that's like...
We wish you Emery Christmas would be brilliant. He has missed such an opportunity there.
Yeah, we wish you Emery Christmas. That, you know what? I got to say that's true. Well, we're going to all have a merry moment coming up because Clive will be joining us momentarily. And look, I'm sorry I had to get that in there, but that Christmas card has been rankling me for a while. So before we bring Clive in, let me ask you a question, Jess. Odegaard or Nodegaard? I think this is interesting. He stormed in to the club and made such an impact. And then there were a little bit of injuries and maybe a few performances where he wasn't right at the top. And now I think you hear some Buendia rumblings and some Aouar rumblings again. We're going to have to make a big decision this summer. Zidane may go from Madrid, having been knocked out of the Champions League by Chelsea and with a little help from Eden Hazard, who is apparently also a double agent. It's another story for another time, but quite hilarious. I guess what I would ask you is, has Odegaard done enough that if this is, I don't know that we can even get him at all, but if this is a £50 million signing, for you, is he the one to go all in? We know we need this creative playmaker. Smith Rowe's great, but especially if we're playing 2-8s, we need another guy there. I have to admit, I think if we're going to play 8 and not a 10 between the lines, then maybe a Buendia fits that a little bit more than Odegaard. But you tell me, how do you feel? Odegaard or Nodegaard? Has he made himself the priority signing for the summer?
Look, I've been thinking about this a lot lately just because the summer is coming up. And like you said, we need to make a big decision. I think Odegaard is such a good player. He has probably 50 million, whatever potential, but at this point right now, to me, he's not worth that. And that makes me a little bit leery of going all out on that type of talent just for potential's sake. If you look at Ceballos, he's somebody that played well against Burnley, had a couple of good performances here and there. We thought he was the next thing, and he's bombed out. So for me, I'm looking at it He's not from the Premier League. We haven't seen enough of him to really know for sure. They want a lot for him. Would it not be better to go after somebody like Buendia that we know can play in the Premier League? He may not be as fancy, it may not be as shiny, but at least we know it works. So I think with the potential limited funds that we have and the position that we're in, where every single signing needs to make sense and it needs to work, maybe Odegaard is not the right risk for right now, and I would prefer a loan, but I don't think that that's on the table. So, and all of this may be already taken care of by the fact that Real Madrid probably would want to keep him. Looking at Modric yesterday, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe they need to go ahead and replace him. His legs are out. So I don't know. At this point, I'm saying no, he hasn't done enough. I don't think there's enough time for him to do enough to change my mind, so maybe we do need to look in a different direction or look for an 8 or something a little bit different. But I do like the player. I'm just not sold on what I've seen.
Fair enough. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to let Tim go because we're getting ready for Clive to come in right now, and we obviously have to make space for the Clive. You gotta.
Clive's going to come in like in sunglasses and a parka, and he's already 10 minutes late. You know when you go and see a band, and
I picked out all the red Skittles for him. He didn't want the red Skittles, so I picked all those out of the bowl.
And the support band have been off for ages, and you're waiting for the band, and you know that they're just being late to build up the tension. That's what Clive's doing right now. He's getting stuck into the rider in his dressing room. Are
you ready for this? All right, I'm going to let you go, Tim. Please retweet all our streams and stuff like that to get people in here for the Clive portion of the show, but we'll talk to you on the instant reaction, perhaps?
Certainly will. UTA.
All right, good luck. I hope you get through it. Thanks, UTA. Tim's on Twitter, Roberto. Thanks, Tim. You ready for this, Jess?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, man, I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait. We're going to bring
him
in.
I'm not participating this time. I'm not participating, so you do it all by yourself.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Here goes, everybody. Let's do it again. And it's Clive. You can find him on Twitter at CliveBAFC. Oh my God, it's Clive! How do you love that? How much do you love that? Tell me you love that, Clive. I made that just for you. Tim's in the studio in the background, dying laughing. He loves it.
Oh, flipping hell.
Yeah. You bet, baby. You bet. Made that just for you, Clive. I want to see what people think. Oh my God, it's Clive. Clive.
Why does he do this?
Clive. All right, Clive.
Superstar.
What did I do to deserve it?
Jess, you're a superstar too, but
just be awesome, Clive.
We got goat emoji. We got it all. Hello, everybody, and hello to Clive. Elliot, you're such a goofball. I love it. Please tell my wife. Okay.
I like that person.
Yeah, Clive. I mean, it's everywhere, Clive. Okay, Clive. He's gone. He's gone for the goals tonight. He's gone for the goals. He's stuck with Xhaka. He's gone with Hector Bellerin, as have I, in honor, hoping to eke out a good performance from him. All right, Clive. So first thing, we got to get you the most important question. What have you been drinking? Are you on the Duvel again tonight?
No. I didn't. I did have a chance. I just got back a bit late, so I didn't get a chance to get myself a drink. That's okay. I've been drinking a few bottles of Peroni.
Okay.
And to me chairman, having a good little chat. So yeah.
No problem. No problem. It's okay. We're all going to be okay. Everybody settle down. Clive's here now. We're going to get serious. So what do you think of the lineup, my friend?
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? I think he obviously sticking with Xhaka at the left back. If you wanted to get funky, right? If you wanted to, there could be a situation where they could be playing a back three. I don't, a true back three with Xhaka and Bellerin as wing backs, but I don't think he will. He's just dropping Smith Rowe into the centre midfield, and I think that is where he should be. Well, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. I mean, his development is going to be interesting. Is he going to be developed forwards or backwards? Is he going to develop, at the moment, he's sort of in this 10 range. Is he going to be a 10-11 or is he going to be an 8? And the way bodies develop, I think he might develop backwards. I think he's got a natural two-way work ethic. I think he doesn't mind going to ground when he needs to. I think he understands about ball retention. He accelerates the play. He's got good pictures and deep under pressure. So I think he could develop into a deeper player as he ages, and we naturally, all of us as we get older, get thicker.
I don't know what you're talking about. You just wear more black. Nobody notices. Don't wear horizontal stripes, kids. I've got all the good scoop for you here.
Jesse's laughing, going, "Yep, I know what you mean," but not me. But yeah, I just think he might develop backward. I think he just his body shape and body type. But I think he's going to do that, or he might do this, which I think will be really quite nice, wouldn't it? Because while I think we're losing Odegaard a little bit. We're losing him as a position. I think we just lost his connection, and I think we almost, by playing this system, we sort of define him a little bit. We give him his square, we give him his zone, and say play from there, be available, keep your distances when we're contracting, when we're running backwards, but be available so when Partey's not left too alone. He's always got two options to pass to, and that could transform his game. Because at the moment, he's standing there on an island, trying to do these amazing passes. If they don't work out, people like you, Elliot, say he's average. Do you know what I mean?
What happened? What did I do?
Yeah, like
you,
suddenly
Elliot. About me? What suddenly it's about me? You want me to play that video again, Clive? I'll do it.
No,
your whole thing right now is just to keep me from playing that video again. All right? So that's it. Is this game more important to the club than the 2006 CL semifinal was? I mean, obviously it's hard to answer that because we know we lost the CL final. I hate to bring that up. I would say no, because obviously making it to a CL final is bigger than making it to a Europa League final. And I would even say making it to a CL final is bigger than winning a Europa League final. But for where we are in the club right now, Jess, we're looking at no Europe or Champions League. That's the gambit now. So, I mean, this is really existential, isn't it? I mean, it is no less than existential, the difference between Arsenal being a Champions League club next season and what that means for recruitment, for resources, for pedigree, for contract negotiations, for all of that, versus no Europe and then having to loan players out, smaller squad, different type of season next season. So, I mean, do you think that that's overstating the importance, or is it really that big?
No, it is. It is. Regardless if this has any bearing on Arteta's job in the short term, it's important for morale. I've actually never seen Arsenal outside of European. I don't know what that looks like. I don't get it. I don't know what that means. So if we're outside of European competition, what does that mean for recruitment and all that kind of stuff? So, and I don't really want to find out. I know that, I know Clive is probably, I think you've said in the past that it's like, would it be like the end of the world if we were outside of European competition?
Just think West Ham.
Clive doesn't think so. Right?
Just think West Ham. Look at West Ham right now.
I tend to think a little bit differently just from the standpoint of like, how long is it going to take us to get back in? There's no guarantee that the other teams won't improve and will improve enough to overtake them the next year. So I'm just afraid of the slippery slope. But it is just that important for us going into the summer and feeling like we're moving in the right direction for the project. And just like you said, the binary of being outside of European competition and potentially being in Champions League, I think it would be a lot easier to swallow if you were like, okay, well, we lost to Manchester United in the final versus Unai Emery in the semis. So I would at least like to get to the final just for that. But yeah, it's super important. It's really important because the morale right now, but there's a lot of Arteta in people that are feeling a little shaky about him. And I want him to go into the summer with some confidence and without the fans just like breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Can I give you a little bit on that?
Yeah, I'd love to hear because
I can see you're distracted, Elliot.
I have thoughts. No, I please fire away. I'm just in the chat. Ignore me. Pretend like I'm not here. I know you're doing it anyway. Go ahead.
So for me, it's obviously it's an important game, right? We're speeding towards kickoff, and we're all feeling that pre-kickoff nerves. We're wondering, and our allegiances to players, managers, or not players, they're all coming to the surface, right? But I'm telling you now, the most important thing is not so much this game, it's what we do recruitment-wise in the summer. It is everything, absolutely everything. Whether Arteta stays or not, we got to get rid of 10 and we got to get 7 or 8 in, right? And that's a massive, massive job. There's nothing more important than rebuilding the playing staff. We saw last night watching Chelsea, right? £222 million Chelsea spent in the summer. Look where they are right now. That guy wasn't coming in and looking after Skodas. He was coming in trying to work out how I can play Pulisic and Mount and Havertz and Werner. Do you know what I mean? That's what he was trying to work out. We're trying to work out. We're resting kids and we're resting Rob Holding for a game. That's what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? And so when we're judging people, let's judge them fairly. If Arteta stays off this season, it doesn't really concern me. What concerns me is that we up the quality of the playing staff. It's just everything. It's everything. I'll tell you now, I cannot stress this enough. I don't get serious. Well, actually, I do get serious.
I don't get serious. Let's be clear. Let's keep it straight.
I tell you now, it's got to happen because there was an interview before the game. It was before Chelsea game last night. It was Emma Hayes, the women's coach, and she just basically won the league, and she's in the Champions League final. And she said, "I'm trying to get home to watch the men play. Hopefully, we're going to win. I think we will, because winning is in the bones of everybody in this club." And when I heard her say that, Jess, your face has told me something, because you know that's not true about us, is it?
It's not.
That's not true about us. We changed our thought process when we decided top four was good enough. When we let Ashley Cole go across the road, we decided then winning wasn't the most important thing. What was the most important thing was paying bills. And our culture changed then, and we haven't flipped it round. I want to change this playing staff. I mean, revolutionize it. I'm talking a lot of them go, and bring people in who want to win and make sure they're accountable to win. If that means a coach who, by the way, is almost having Lampard's first year, you're okay. You're in a development year, you're developing young players, you're developing yourself, you're in a development year. When we give you money and then we give you players, you're going to be judged like Lampard was judged. You didn't make Christmas, or just about Christmas. He was done, right? So then we can judge him in the same harsh way as people are doing now. So replenish the playing staff. I'm waiting for that podcast, Elliot. I'm so waiting for it.
Save us some summer content, Clive, because we're not going to be like in the market every day buying a new player. We need summer content. So.
Yeah, and that's what I feel. So right now, you're focusing on who you're going to kill afterwards if we lose. I guarantee you'll come around to this point where you're going to say, we got to change some players. Do you see what I mean? And whether we win or not, we know we got to change some players. We know contractually we got to change some players. We know stylistically we got to change some players to play the football we want to play. We haven't got enough steel. We haven't got enough running power. Watching Chelsea outrun Real Madrid last night, the pedestrian Real Madrid, if that's not some message to you about where the football is going, then you're just not watching, right? So I want to be on the sprinting side of the pitch, the people who haven't got their inhalers in their hands trying to recover, right? Watching people who cannot run, cannot play. That's why I don't want to be that team. We've been pedestrian in the past. And I can't wait to upgrade our players. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Serious stuff for me.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think the issue is the reason I want Europe, you guys, and why I think we need Europe. I mean, setting aside the money we can spend, because even with Europe, we're not recouping the losses we've made during COVID football. But I do think that there's one problem with being a big club that has no European football at all, which is suddenly you don't have those. So let's say you're in Europa League. The Europa League gives you 6 group stage games and a couple knockout games even against lesser opposition. That's extra playing time for players that otherwise either you just can't have in your squad or going to go out on loan. So for example, so let's say we have no Europe next season and you just have the 38 Premier League games and a couple of domestic cup games. Suddenly you start to say like, okay, we can't have this youth player. Aziz can't break in and play the group games. He's on loan. Balogun can't play the group games. He's on loan. Suddenly these players that you might keep at the club, who might learn under your coach, your system, stay in house where you can develop them, have to go out because you don't want those players playing reserve football. They have to play. And so you don't get as good a look at them. They don't make their first team debut. They don't see a path to first team football, and everything gets a little more complicated. You just need a smaller squad. Then I think here's the other problem. There's an accordion problem, which everybody knows the one kind of problem you don't want to have is an accordion problem. There's so many problems, but not the accordion problem. It's a bad one. I'll explain. Your squad gets smaller when you're out of Europe because you just don't need as many players. You get back into Europe as a result of it, and suddenly you need those players back. Well, can you build the squad back up to being a European squad quickly? I just think it creates a lot of challenges from a developmental standpoint. It sets the project back, is my view. Jess, I would go to you, but the amount of head shaking Clive has done requires me to go back to Clive and get slapped down. I was going to let Jess go first. But, no, slap me down.
Well, no, don't you think we've been in a development year? Do we need another development year? I mean, we've played more under 23 minutes than anybody else in the Premier League, right? So we can't always develop. We shouldn't be shaping our season around Miguel Aziz, who we haven't seen, right? Who could easily go to, I don't know, Bournemouth on loan, have a fantastic year, and come back a ready-made player, right? For when, so that's not for me. I don't mind having a slightly smaller squad with less critical games. By the way, I think obviously I think we're going to win tonight, and I think we can qualify for Europe anyway.
But you
if we don't
Clive,
qualify
to be
for
clear,
Europe,
I'm not saying like we need another season where we're depending on. I'm saying it gives you space to develop talent in-house as opposed to because agree with this, right? If you don't have those games, you probably have to loan out more players. You probably sign a few. Like you can have a smaller squad. You can focus on the league, which is great. But having a smaller squad means fewer players are probably coming through your system. Like if we didn't have Europa League, would a Saka have come through? Would a Smith Rowe have come? I just wonder where those players develop if they don't develop. Yeah,
they're here. They're here now. So it's worked for us. Europa League has worked for us. So you know what, Elliot, this is something, and I want to run this by you and see if I'm talking sense, right? But I think we're turning into a development club. We're developing our manager. We're developing Edu. We're developing Vinay. We're developing half our team. The ones we all love are 23 and under, right? And so we're a development club. I don't want to be a development club forever. At some point, you've got to say, bang, we're changing this. We're changing this now. Because everybody that's screaming Arteta out, and Jesse's absolutely right, are not in that mindset. They're not thinking development. They're not thinking project. They're not thinking anything like that. They're thinking, he ain't doing it. It's time to go. The bloke at Chelsea's done it. The bloke at Man City's done it. They're not worried about the trillions that have been spent. They don't care about the petrodollars. They want to see their team win. And so the development can't go on anymore. I thought it was a 3 to 5 year guy, Elliot, but I don't think it is anymore. I don't think fans will allow projects to develop at the pace that I would, maybe, for example.
That's fair. Look, to be fair, a lot of people call me Whiskers for my take, and I just want to be clear that
don't change, man.
I'm just a worrier. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. So,
Oh my goodness.
Again, I'm just a worrier. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. So I just want to make sure that was clear. All right, Jess, we don't need that. I feel like that topic has been done to death. Let's start to zero in on the game because we got about 15 more minutes here. Let's talk about what we expect from the game in terms of tactics. I mean, whatever the lineup suggests, we know Emery is going to have imbued his players with a sense of cataclysmic fear. Clive and I rewatched this game, and one thing we spotted was that the same thing's going on at Villarreal that was going on at Arsenal with his team. All the players tilted to one side of the pitch. I mean, it literally looks like they tilted the pitch, and all the players fell into one half. Big switches, quick switches, how you tear them apart. Arteta hopefully will have seen that, and that we'll have a plan for that. But in terms of how we get at Villarreal and I think hurt them, I think it's a lot of quick, big switches that take advantage of the way that they tend to tilt the pitch. What do you think we need to do? And in terms of psychologically, I think my biggest fear is it's 1-0 Arsenal 80 minutes into the game. You know what I mean? Psychologically, how important is the timing of goals and the sort of psychological aspect of that away goal thing going to wind up being?
Well, just from the tactical side, for me I was looking at it and I was thinking, wow, we just needed to throw more resources forward. We were Saka, I think it was, and Emile Smith Rowe were very isolated up front. They really didn't have a lot of help from the fullbacks or the midfielders. There was actually nobody there. Made it really, really easy for Villarreal's backline to defend them. And we don't really need that. We need more people forward, which is what this lineup already kind of gives you an extra body and Emile Smith Rowe up there. Make sure that Saka has somebody to overload on the right-hand side with Bellerin. So I think that's going to be important in itself. I think one of the biggest tactical changes is one that's already enforced with Ceballos not being out there. Emile Smith Rowe will be able to fill in that pocket. So whoever the right back is not going to have 20 to 30 yards to run up forward to do whatever he wants to do. And in regards to the timing of goals, and I really think we need to get at them early. It needs to be very similar to Slavia Prague. I think we just need to put them on the back foot, get a couple of goals early because, as you've already said, Elliot, 1-0 to Arsenal in the 80th minute is just that's just not a situation that we need to be in because we're not strong enough, in my opinion. So I just think throw resources forward and keep pressure on. Don't recycle backwards, keep going forward because they will make mistakes. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a penalty early if we just put pressure on. So That's what I think will happen. And I'm just hoping that we get goals early. That's it. Aubameyang 1-0 in like 10 minutes.
Would you be surprised if Saka starts at left back? I mean, I don't think we know for sure that's not the case. I think when we've seen Saka do that, it's been more as a wing back, Jess. I mean, I don't think we've seen it in a true back four. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think we've seen him do it more as a wing back. Do you think that's a possibility? I don't see it, but I mean, it's entirely possible that he wants to get Xhaka back in midfield.
It could be, you never really know. It could be Xhaka dropping back into the left back spot and then Saka just kind of going forward. We saw that against, I think it was like Aston Villa or something when we were down a goal or something.
West Ham, maybe?
I think it was Aston Villa where he just started throwing people forward and Saka went to left back. Either way, if that's what we do, it really doesn't matter to me. I really don't. The formation doesn't matter to me. The personnel. We need the mentality. It really doesn't matter. Whatever we put out there is better than what Villarreal has. So if Saka's at left back, it is what it is. If Xhaka is left back, it is what it is. Just go play. Mentality first. I'm
going to say this. I don't know that there is a score where I will stop crapping myself. But Clive, what score line would it need to be for those last 10 minutes not to have it? Like, can I throw something out at you? Here's my biggest fear, right? Emery sets out to defend and be defensive. We get up 1-0. Then Arteta gets scared and he starts having a sit back. And the ball just sits in the center circle with neither team touching it and just looking at it because nobody wants to attack anybody. What is the likelihood that Arteta will lose his do you think Arteta will stay aggressive if we can get it to 1-0? Do you think Arteta will be able to stay aggressive, or do you think that's where the mettle and the mentality is going to have to come in to really keep going and not put yourself in the position where one goal knocks you out? What do you think is the most likely pattern of play there?
Yeah, you know what? I was just thinking about what Jess said about the Saka at left back. If he does play left back, then Xhaka's going to tuck inside a little bit, but he won't really. Do you know what I mean? And he'll have Saka ahead of him and maybe Smith Rowe just inside on the left-hand side. Do you know what I mean? Rather than have two lefties out there, Pepe on the right-hand side with Bellerin and Pepe, that wonderful combination that works so well. I think, with Bellerin there as the right back, he's going to try to push a little bit more. And so we won't be in that sort of back three mode. We'll be in a little bit of with Xhaka will be filling it from a higher position. So we're a bit more step forward, a bit more aggressive. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what we do. We've got a lot of good players on the pitch tonight, which makes a difference in the right places, apart from the left-back situation. So that makes a big difference. As for the scoreline, mate, I was in the stadium when we were 4-2 up against Spurs, and I was ringing my mates saying what restaurant we're going to. And the next minute it was 4-4, right? And so after that night, I think nothing's going to make me happy. I mean, even at Slavia, we were 3-0 up. I was wondering if they would come back, right? So yeah, this is Arsenal. So when the final whistle's done, I'll be okay. But I was thinking about this today. I was talking to a guy called Top Bins, who does a great little site, and basically he said to me, "Well, how do you feel, Clive?" And I goes, "Well, look, mate," I goes, "There's three Arsenals. There's three. There's the historical Arsenal that we spend far too much time looking at, right? There's banter Arsenal, which is the one that turns up when they like, and the one that we've been for the last couple of years. And there's serious Arsenal. And I've got funny feelings. When we're serious, we're quite good. And we have these games when we get serious, when the things are stacked against us. And I've got a feeling we're going to be serious, and we're going to deal with them tonight." So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would certainly like that because as we've been emphasizing all night, I am nervous and would like to be less nervous when push comes to shove. I think, can we just real quick, I know this isn't specifically game related, but it's a talking point that's on social media, and everybody knows that social media is real life. It is completely real life, and it is the most real life thing about real life, he says on social media. Tuchel's instant impact. Jess, it's interesting. You've got United basically with 1 foot in a European final. Chelsea's in the European final, City's in the European final, and Arsenal could be as well, although we have to pull a non-Arsenal for that to happen. There's a lot of talk now that's sort of like, oh, look, we were actually above Chelsea in the table when they appointed Tuchel. Look at the instant impact he's made. And this debate again about how long does a manager need to put a system in place. Clive did speak about the fact that he took over, class players, and Arteta maybe not so much. I'm not as on board with the idea that we just have a bunch of Skodas, as Clive feels.
So what I will say, I'll tell you, when they get
Jess,
sold,
I'll get back to you in a moment.
when they get sold, let's see how many go up into bigger clubs. Let's see how many go down.
We keep re-signing them, so we have to stop doing that.
Let's see where they go. Let's see where they go.
I didn't want Willian either, man. But Saka is not a Skoda. Smith Rowe is not a Skoda.
Okay, come on. You know.
I know who you're talking about. I get it. Thomas Partey. You love Thomas Partey.
No,
I do too.
We've got a group of players, which everyone knows who they are. Everyone knows who they are. It's the other lot. And some of them aren't even here at the moment.
Well, let me just get Jess' take on this real quick, which is just like, I think it is unfair because, first of all, look, I think Arteta is a better manager than Lampard. So I think Lampard was really holding Chelsea back. And I think Chelsea obviously has more talent than Arsenal, although I would argue a similar imbalance in some respects where the talent is very front-loaded. He came in with a clear system. He's a guy who's been coaching a lot longer, and he implemented it very quickly, and he got them playing some very good football. Credit to him. I guess the question is like, how long is the right amount of time? You've hired a rookie coach, so you know there's going to be growing pains. What is the timetable for a coach to be evaluated, to implement their system, to decide on their system, to have the process starts to take shape? And I get it. You can always say we need better players. But when you hire a coach, at some level, they have to get the most they can out of that group. And I guess my only argument would be this. We all agree it's a flawed squad. I think we also all agree it is not a 9th place squad. So somewhere between saying this isn't the squad we need, it needs to get better, and also saying that Arteta, let's just be real, Arteta has not done in the league what he could have with this talent, and I think he'd be the first to admit that. So Jess, how do you balance that? How much time do you wait? What is the balance between it's the players and it's the coach? Because I think what Tuchel is showing, again, in a more talented team is if you got a good system and you're a very good coach, you can make an impact maybe more quickly than we have presupposed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think Arteta has underachieved with what he has. I still think the squad is somewhere between 7th and 10th. I really don't think it's as good as maybe other people think. It's not nowhere near top 4. But, I think it depends. You weigh it depending on what the true goal is for the club. I don't know what the goals of the club are because from what I've seen, there's no true plan. And if you don't have a plan, then how can you reach your goals? So if the club came out and said, look, we're doing a long-term project, 3 to 5 years. We're not really worried about European competition. We're just going to build this team up and get Arteta to where he wants to go. Maybe we try to get into European places in 2 or 3 years. Then you keep him, but if you continuously talk to us about Champions League, that's where our Arsenal needs to be. And the resources that you're giving a novice manager doesn't add up to that, then maybe you do sack him early. Maybe you do sack him in December after you maybe give him some money. I think the thing about Arteta that kind of frustrates me a little bit is he did not compromise this season. Last season, maybe he felt like he compromised a lot playing a 3-4-3. That's not the system that he wanted to play, and he got results. I think this team is more suited to a 3-4-3. That's why we got some joy out of it. Now that we've switched to another system, it's not really what most of the players would be comfortable playing. So we're getting inconsistencies, and he's been very uncompromising this season. I think that's why we've seen bad results. But if he gets the players that he needs and replaces some of the players that have been inconsistent, I think he'll be fine. But is he going to get that money? I'm not sure. And without Europe, I'm really not sure, So I think in general, I think you have to give them at least two solid windows before you just get rid of them unless they're in relegation zone. But if they were to tell us tomorrow that the goal is not Champions League in a year or whatever, and it's a longer term project, then keep him, because I don't really see another manager out there that, one, is going to come here, and 2, do that much better with this group. I'd like to see Arteta succeed, but that's just me. It just depends on what the goals are for the club, and I'm not really sure what they are. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's fair, Clive. I want to move on from that and just get into the game, but I know you hey, come back with it. There's a reason we have a video intro just for you, so please.
No. Basically, I mean, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because I'm a fan of 3 at the back. Tuchel come in and he said, 3 at the back. I'm going to have a look at this lot. 3 at the back, 2 in front, 2 number 10s behind the forward. He did it, stopped conceded goals, stopped the rot. They won a few games on the trot, got momentum. Look where they are. 2 cup finals. When we play 3 at the back, we need an extra man in midfield. We need number 10. Why is he playing Ozil? Do you know what I mean? No one's complaining. It's all about results. It's all about results, all right? Just look at your players and play a system for your players, basically. And, I saw one of the comments just flash through, and I thought, I really agree with them. And when you saw Aubameyang's interview yesterday, and you realise he's the sort of guy that needs to play in front of a crowd, and you can see how flat he's been. He's someone that sparks off people, sparks off crowds. This is not, I keep saying it, this is not a normal time. But we're judging people as if everything is okay. Do you know what I mean? Half these players wouldn't be here if we didn't have the COVID market last summer. Then we could really judge based on the variables of our home crowd. We wouldn't be losing those games at home with our home crowd there. We may not want an OT with a home crowd there. Do you see what I mean? So I know he bounces out, but there's a job to do here. If people want to lose the manager, then fine. Bring another one in. But let's look at the job. The job is renewing our people. That's what this is all about at the moment. As you change your culture, renew the people. If that includes the manager, I'm not against it. It'd be a shame because I don't think we could judge him. What could we judge him on? And that's my thing. But if we can create a landscape where he can be judged, then I'm cool. Then I'm absolutely cool.
Arteta will stay. Arsenal won't sack the EL winner. And I say, Piotr, good man. I hope you are right. By the way, she knows Arsenal. That's right. She does know Arsenal, and that is the name of her podcast. So please like and subscribe to that. You can also, as the scroll at the bottom says, and this is important, right? Because we're here. We want to be here together. We want to be here in the future. Just touch any part of the screen you want, actually. It's really none of our business. But if you want to gently caress the like and subscribe button, we don't want you to smash this whole smash this, smash that. Don't smash the screen. Please gently caress the like button and subscribe and tap the bell and just hit all parts of the screen. The screen is your friend. Enjoy it. Roam around it. Really explore the space. Jess, it's prediction time. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, now that I've seen the lineup, I think we'll do better than I thought. So I'm going to go with 2-0 Arsenal.
2-0 Arsenal. I will take that because actually I think that it's not the most stressful result because at 2-0, even if they get a goal, you're not out of it. So yeah, I would definitely take a 2-0. Clive, what are you feeling?
I think we're going to do well. I think it's going to be 3-1. I cannot believe it's going to be a sit down there, have a cigar on, relaxing night. I just can't see it, right? So, but I'm confident we're going to play well. That's the most important thing. We only played well for 15, 20 minutes in the last game. So I think we're going to play better. More, we got a focal point. We may have some solidity in centre midfield. We're going to have more than we did have last week, shall we say. And what we might get is some switches of plays, Elliot. Do you know what I mean? Some zigzag moves.
We need that. That's what you and I saw. That's what you and I saw, right?
Smith Rowe can kick it. Xhaka can kick it. The other bloke, nah.
When you said they can't even kick the ball, I died.
So
they can't kick it.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have an instant reaction on Patreon where Clive will get to talk more. So that's good. We got that going for us, which is great. What we need to do, though, one more time, just before we get out of here, this is really important. I think it is important that we do the important stuff. So Jess is on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Follow her podcast and like it and subscribe to it and all that good stuff at She Knows Arsenal. Thanks, Jess.
All right, talk to you guys later. Hopefully
Good
we
luck
got through.
the Arsenal. Yeah, okay. And Clive, just real quick.
Booted her out.
I just bye. Well, because my dear friend Clive, my dear.
Oh no! Come on, man! I've got to go and sit down for this game.
That's Clive. You can follow him on Twitter at ClivePAFC. Always a pleasure, my friend. Talk to you full time. Hopefully it's good. Cheers. My name is Elliot Smith. I am the ridiculous person in charge of all the nonsense. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to us. What a big night for our club and a big night together. And hopefully we will all be raising a glass to each other, to the club, to the manager, to our victory and a date with Manchester United, most likely. Unless, who knows? Maybe Roma will beat them 7-0 tonight. You never know. But a Europa League final would be great. Maybe even more nervy than tonight, but we'll be here together to celebrate it. So we'll have the instant reaction at full time for patrons. We will have the regular podcast tomorrow, so that'll be out. And then there's probably a game at the weekend that we'll cover too. So this stuff just goes on and on and on. And you want to join us for our next live stream so you can see more of the Clive video. I hope you enjoyed. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Big night. I'm going to go for a 3-1 to the Arsenal. 3-1 to the Arsenal. I think it'll be nervy how we get there, but we'll get there in the end, onwards and upwards and into the final to face Manchester United, which will surely be a historic night for the club. We love you. We will talk to you after Arsenal 10, Villarreal 0.